we'll start shortly. Okay. Hi, Emma. So there. Yes. Perfect. Yes. Um, and we're live. See, look at this. We've been live for 5 seconds here. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Ellison, and I am your personality pro, because you know what? Personality really does drive reality. It impacts every part of our life. So I am just so excited today to reach out and share with you some great information from a friend of mine, Emma Dunlop Walters, and she is going to be talking about things that you can do as a small business person. Like with me, I know that I can help you to work with your messaging. And you know what? There's parts of all of us that do everything, and it's all the success comes in the tweaking. And so, Emma, welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you are very welcome. So first of all, Emma, tell us a little bit about you. You're obviously, you have a little bit of an accent, which I love. I love your accent. I have to tell you that. And so, tell us about you and how you came to be doing what you're doing.
Well, hello everyone. My name's Emma. I'm from the UK, and I run ER Marketing Group, which is a little marketing agency that I started with my husband last year. Wasn't planned at all. I was working as a marketing manager. I got made redundant because of the coronavirus situation. So there were no marketing jobs. So we thought, why not just start a marketing agency, see what happens? And it's actually worked out quite well for us. So we're nearly a year, coming up to a year since we started. We've won our first award a couple of weeks ago. And we've helped a lot of small businesses and startups get off the ground. So we work with coaches, e-commerce businesses, anyone that needs our help, really. We help build their websites and come up with a marketing strategy that suits them and help them with their brand and building awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What do you like the best?
Oh, it's got to be the content creation side of things.
Right.
I absolutely love writing content for businesses. It's such a great way of getting in front of your audience, and each piece is so different. I absolutely love it. And the other part has to be watching the businesses grow, because when we started working with some of these businesses, they were tiny, didn't even have a website. And now I'm watching them grow and watching the sales pick up because of the marketing activities. And it's so nice. I absolutely love it.
Right. I know for one of the things for me that I love when I'm talking to somebody working with a client is that moment of light bulb.
Yeah.
I call them light bulb moments, where they can actually see themselves doing and succeeding.
Yes.
Rather than just doing and wondering, oh, is this going to work?
Yeah.
And when they get to that point where they start to see the fruits of their labor, kind of thing, that is like, oh yeah, this works. Wow. Yeah. I've got new clients, or I've got a new, whatever it is that they happen to be working on. Like right now for me, I'm working on my Thrive cart, and it's like, oh wow, I really can do it. And it's such a good feeling, because we all had, one of the things I think for me is that when I realized that everybody has to start somewhere.
They do. Yeah. And for most of our clients have said marketing is always the hardest bit. They hate it, absolutely hate it. So that's when they end up coming to me, and just having that taken off of them. They say it feels like a weight's been lifted.
Right.
And I kind of understand that, because when I first started, I obviously been in marketing for 6 years, so I thought I was very good at it. When it came to marketing my own business, I really struggled. It's really difficult.
Right.
So I kind of understand how they feel.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's for me too. Like lots of times, one of the things that I've been working on is a course and what to name it, and just going through some naming things. And so often I'll be working with someone and I'll come up with something for them that they absolutely love. And then I'm like, well, if I can do it for other people, why can't I do it for myself? The thing is sometimes one of the things that I really work with clients too, is that sometimes you are so close to your topic that you can't, it's like you have blinders on. You can't quite see. That's why it is so important to get outside help, because they'll look at something differently.
That's exactly it. And even for me, I've had people, you know, when we've done a website revamp or something, I'll send it to someone else that's outside the company. So what do you think of this? And you get some brilliant feedback, because we've been looking at the website obviously for months by this point, and they pick up things that we didn't. So it's a brilliant tactic. It's one that we employ, definitely.
Right. Yeah. It's sometimes it's like, it's why people have editors, and they have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 editors, because everybody reads differently. And that's why it is so important. And I really try to stress to people to, get outside opinions and get outside. Like with me, I've sent my suggestions out to whole bunches of groups and stuff, and I'm getting feedback.
Yeah.
And it's just good business to get feedback from other people.
Definitely. And if those people within your target audience as well, whether you've got a friend who kind of fits that criteria, send it to them, see what they think. Because, you know, if they've got the same traits or values as your customer, their opinion is going to be invaluable, and it's going to help direct your marketing as well.
Right. Right. I always think of it as kind of being like, because we have in our target market, I think we all have a little bit of ourselves. Yeah. And that's what my girlfriend Pat used to always say. Our target market tends to be somebody like us, but not only like us. So we have to work on some of the other values and things that are going to make them really aware of what you do and resonate with it. And just be true to your own voice. Oh, that is one of my things. Be true to your own voice. Because we can all tweak. Like, that's one of the things that I do. I tweak, but don't try to be somebody else. You can tweak your messaging to attract other people, but don't you change who you are.
That's such good advice.
And I find that so often that they see a big guru out there. Oh, I'm going to be just like them. Yeah. And they can't sustain it.
Exactly. I was actually reading something this morning about entrepreneurs, that they'll see someone, especially in the marketing space, they'll see one of the big people that always comes up on Google when, you know, they're really good, and they aspire to be them, and they fail because you're never going to be that person.
Right.
Be yourself, you know, focus on your strengths, not theirs.
Right. So tell us some tips of that, because you said you work with startups and, new businesses. Give us some, like, I always think of them as like foundations and ground rules.
Yes.
Not rules so much as just best practices of what to start with, where to start before they get themselves into trouble going, and having to redo everything.
So what a lot of marketing people won't tell you is that there's a lot of free tools out there you can use. So look at Google My Business. That is great for SEO and for getting reviews. Get yourself on there. Look at your website. Make sure that the customer journey's working, and it goes back to getting feedback. Send it to friends, send it to family, send it to any potential customers you have, and just say, what do you think? You know, would you use our website? Their feedback will help feed, the decisions you make on the website. Do your research as well, which is what we've been saying, isn't it? Find your target audience and get to know them. Build this persona of your target audience. Who are they? Where are they? What do they like? What are their pain points? And then when you're marketing to them, tell them the benefits of using the product. Don't tell them the features. Tell them how it benefits them.
So huge.
Yeah.
So huge. Tell them the benefits, not just the features. Because so often, good morning. Okay, let's take a break a little second. Good morning,
Hi,
Barbara. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, wonderful queens. Hi, wonderful queen. I didn't want you to stop. It's good information. It's awesome information. Don't stop the show. Yeah. But no, I wanted to kind of just tag what Emma was saying, that, we always so used to, some people used to saying the process of what we do things, and we don't get into, people want to hear, okay, what's the result? What am I getting out of this? What is going to happen to me once you do this with me? So I'm glad she mentioned that about, is the results are more that people want to hear more so than the process.
Right. Because I think what happens to people, you know, and whole bunches of us, we've all gotten together and talked about this, is that because you are unique and you have a unique approach to doing things, and you might have a slightly different way of approaching the same thing, that, you know, the pain that they don't want and the solution that they don't have. Well, if everybody does the same thing, people will buy on price, not on benefit. And we were just, some friends of mine yesterday, we were talking about it, and that we were talking just exactly about that. And I can't even think of what we were talking about. Oh, I think we were having a conversation because we were sitting around the table and we were having cheese and crackers, and they had all sorts of different cheeses there. And it was like, you know, we got on the subject of some of the cheeses were really kind of pricey, but they were so good. And what made them different, and why did so-and-so, you know, why did Kelly want this cheese, you know, and Sherry want that cheese? Well, it's all taste, it's all cheese, but we all tasted it differently. And some of the ones that Sherry liked, I went, ooh, no, this isn't good at all. You know, and that's exactly what happens with our marketing. Some marketing will that's why your market, when you can target, you will attract the people who like your marketing.
Exactly. And it's all about building that brand as well. Creating that personality, and, you know, just bringing people in that way is so important. And it's a step a lot of people tend to skip and think, oh, it's all about the product. It's not, it's about the brand. You know, what are your goals? What do you stand for? And build that relationship with your customers.
Yeah. Barb, we've talked about this, is let people know what you stand for and what you stand against.
Yeah, those boundaries. Yep.
You know, because some of the companies, I think that's what happened. They've gotten into trouble because they never stood up for what they believed in.
Yeah.
And they went along with with just the whatever was going on. And all of a sudden it's like, ooh, this didn't work. And they couldn't recover.
Yeah, it's all about being reactive as well when things happen in the world. So for a lot of my clients, if something's happening in the news and it's within their space, it's their audience, I'll send them a message, they quick get a blog up about this, get a social media post up about this, because it's relevant to your audience. They're going to read it. So you want to be the one that tells them about it, gets them to your website. And it also shows that, you know, you're thinking of them, and it builds you as an expert in your area, because ultimately that's what you want to be, people to think of you as, an expert.
Right.
Yeah, so true. And, you know, just going back a little bit about, you were saying about the you know, us being unique. And some people, like, you know, they might they love Barbara, the other Barbara Ellison, because of how she is, how she does things, how her personality, like you said. And then some people might come over to me because they like, you know, what I do. That doesn't mean that there's a problem. That's not a problem. That just means people, you know, prefer certain individuals. And a lot of times I think people look at that and they be like, oh, well, maybe I'm not the expert. You know, they start kind of maybe downing themselves or getting jealous, or, you know, all that starts to come. And I keep telling people, and Barbara always says this, there's 7 billion people all these people in the world. And you're sitting here worried about, you know, how many people that it's going to attract, because it'd be attracted to you and everybody else. And then I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to coach or whatever everybody. That's just too much.
Exactly. People buy from people at the end of the day. So yeah. And it's all about whether that personality clicks. And if it doesn't,
it just doesn't click. And if I know somebody, because sometimes when I talk to people, I do like discovery calls. And if I see that, you know, it's just not really fitting, and I know that Emma, they would like you more than me or whatever, I will refer them to them. I'm like, you know what? I know an awesome, amazing lady that could really help you out. Because the first thing I'm thinking in my mind is not about Barbara, it's about helping that individual getting what they need, their results, as we say. Exactly. So that'd be fair to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the best thing to do, because otherwise you end up working together and it just doesn't work out, and it's awkward. And so, yeah.
And you did all that because you felt like, well, I don't want people to think that they don't like me or whatever. See, now you're in yourself. Now you think you're selfish, and you got to stop that. Look at what the client needs. Look what the person needs. They could be missing out on something if they didn't work with Barbara Ellis compared to me, or Emma compared to me. I don't want people missing out on it. Life is too short. I keep telling people we need to do what we need to do. Yeah.
And everybody has their own way of doing things, and it's so important to just embrace the uniqueness. And one of the things is that if you have thought it, or if you have felt it, somebody else in the world has also thought it and felt it the way that you did. How Barbara approaches things and feels things and thinks things is very different. All three of us are very different. You're going to attract the people who think, feel like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so often when somebody tries to be like somebody else, they don't come across as being authentic.
I know that affects your business, and that affects what people think about you. So, yeah, like you say, just be yourself. Life's too short.
Yeah, life is too short, and I always say that we learn from each other and we gain each other's lane, because some people, like I might not be. I always tell people, yeah, my lane, I love to talk to people, I love to uplift people, I love to basically inspire and put people in that, the exposure, so they get exposure and doing all that. So I love working with that. I love being creative in that area. Now, if somebody told me, okay, you can sit and edit my book or a chapter or whatever, I'll be like, I'm going to somebody. That is not my lane. And I'll tell people in a heartbeat, that is not my lane. Not saying I don't want to learn it and understand it. So there's a difference. But that's not going to be my all that I want to go to somebody that's the expert in that area. So I think a lot of times we take on some things that we really should just be saying, let's delegate this, or let's get to the expert that can do this to make it get better, instead of trying to hold on to do everything. I know for solo entrepreneurs, that's something that's on the side that, we have to all work on is, we're doing everything, and you have to look and say, okay, is this really working for my business? Is this really helping me get to the next level? Maybe not, because some things that you're doing, you shouldn't be doing. So that's why I tell people, look for those experts, look at the people that do it the right way, and get with them.
Exactly. And even little things, just outsourcing admin or something, make a huge difference. Because I think as a lot of entrepreneurs, they seem to think that they need to work 14, 15-hour days and do everything themselves. And eventually they burn out and think, oh, actually, I'll outsource things now. Really, they should be sort of looking to get help earlier on before that burnout happens.
Yes, definitely. And it's all have to do with, a lot of people, it's kind of time controlling, a control thing for themselves, saying I want to be controlled over control everything, and I don't know if they're going to do it the same way I would do it. See, that's another thing, and you have to just kind of say to yourself, well, I got to let that go. They can do this. Trust in the process, because eventually that's going to open some time for you, so you can do what you need to do more.
Exactly. It just comes down to letting go.
And letting go, yeah. And I have to give kudos for you, and Barbara, that you have VAs, you have virtual assistants that's helping you out. And you said to yourself, you know what, in order for me to make more space and time for me, I had to let people do that administrative stuff. I had to let people do, all the other things, some things that I don't really understand. Let them do it. And then that gives you breathing room to do what you have to do.
Yeah, and your stress levels will decrease.
Yes, much. Yes, stress level. That helps a lot too, Em. So I didn't know Barbara, she froze on us. Barbara, can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay. I was telling Emma beforehand that I met a friend of mine's, and so normally we have the house to ourselves, and I can do my show inside the house. Well, this morning they've got a whole house full of people, and I asked in the car.
You got you in the car.
All sorts of distortion. So it's like, So that's why I'm in my car, but it's kind of one of those life choices of business is that, I could have called up last night when I realized, okay, these people aren't leaving. I could have said, you know what, I had the choice of whether to cancel the show and just say, hey, I'm not coming on, or to deal with it. And it was like, so I chose to deal with it. So that's why I'm here in my car, and I'm loving the show, but I'm now realizing that I'm not going to talk anymore because there's distortion. But you know what? This is a new way of people doing business. And Emma and I talked about it ahead of time, is that, now it's just kind of become the norm that people do business from their car. And that's one of the beauties of business. And so often people will take this situation that I'm in right now and say, oh no, and they stop, or they quit, or, because this isn't working, because they want everything to be perfect. Not
and that's to slow people down too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It just has to be out there. Get your message out there. So that's it for me.
Barbara, you're so funny. Well, first of all, I give you so much. I always tell people, when you tell yourself, I have to do what I have to do to get things done. And Barbara always does that. She'll find a way. If she's not like just totally laid up sick or whatever like that, she will find a way to do what she has to do. If you got to get in the car, if you got to be outside, the sacrifice, and the sacrifice, believe me, in the long run, it pays off. It really does. It really pays off. And that's being a leader. That's what I always tell people. That's being a leader in life. So yes.
Exactly. I've had to do a few calls from the car, and it's just normal now.
That's your other office. That's why I tell people this is another office for yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of times I've done a call from a car and done the meeting, and no one's actually asked why I'm in the car. It's just accepted.
Yeah.
So
it really is. So I know that you don't now, Emma. Do you, because I know I came on a little late, but do you do copywriting for like people if they've had their own books or collaboration books? And what type of work do you endeavor into?
We work with quite a lot of people. We do content writing, like blogs, articles, website copy for a few startup businesses, a couple of established businesses. An area that we're looking to get into now is helping people that have written a book, helping them market it, because I absolutely love reading. If I'm not working, I'm reading. So it's something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I'm actually revamping our website now to fit it in. But yeah, working with authors and helping them get their book out there, that's something that I really want to help, because, everyone's got a story in them, I think. They just sometimes need a bit of help getting it out there. Amazon have obviously done wonders in getting, their self-publishing tool up and running. So I want to kind of help them with the next stage. Once they've got the book, they're ready, I want to help them get it out there into the world.
Yeah. So do you do the publishing too, or just the editing part?
I do some of the editing and mainly the marketing of it. I co-authored a book with a friend of mine in New York. It was a dream journal. So we launched that a couple of weeks ago, and that's doing quite well at the moment. So I did all the kind of some of the content for that and some editing there. So yeah, it's kind of a new area for me, but I'm loving it.
Now, as far as the marketing, now that because I've written I've been in a few collaboration books myself. In fact, I'm just finishing up a chapter last night. That was a deadline that was due like last Thursday, and I was like, So you know what I said? I found out the love of my phone and speaking in my phone. Dictated, because I was like, this helps, because before I used to type it in Word, it seemed like it was taking forever. But I said, wait a minute, I could just talk and then copy paste, do some editing, and we're good to go.
Yeah, that's a much better way of doing it.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't I think about this before?
Yeah, I saw that idea. That's good.
See, if I would have met you a long time ago, I'd been like, you'd have been like, well, Barbara, all you have to do is see, this is what I'm talking about, collaborating and getting with people that know. So I had a question regarding marketing. So that's what I always tell and I stress people, not just your book, but just in your business about marketing. So with the book, can would you say that it would be okay? Like, say you're still in the midst of writing your book, like if it's a solo book.
Yeah.
Can you start promoting? Because I tell people you can start promoting that very early, even before you finish.
Definitely start building it up, tease people a little bit with your marketing,
Excuse me.
give them a tiny insight into what it's about and leave them wanting more. Definitely. So, get yourself a web page up, coming soon, and then just give them a little synopsis of what the book's going to be about and start promoting it and get it out there. Build that audience before you launch, because then when you launch, you've already got a base right there.
So what do you think, how many, starting point to get to that? Where would you start at? I mean, what would you recommend people to start?
For the website, or
just basically if they start promoting your book and they're working on their book, I mean, and they want to start promoting early, where would you tell them kind of like how long, when to start to get to that point?
I would say a couple of weeks before the launch. Start with the marketing then, get your website done, get yourself on social media, do some networking as well, start telling people about the book, get it out there. And obviously got the book launch to plan. That's quite exciting. So start doing that well in advance if you can, just so that you're ready. And then just, talk to bookshops, talk to people. And again, it goes back to getting that feedback before you launch. So give it to friends and family, give it to people who are the target audience. Don't just give it to anyone. So if it's a mystery thriller, don't give it to someone who only reads romantic books, because they're going to hate it. Think about your audience again. Build that persona. Who are they? What do they like? What other books do they read? Where are they in the world? Is there a certain place that only, people are buying your book? And really push your marketing there. Get yourself on social media. Build an email marketing list as well. And build your profile as an author. The book's great, but you need to build your own profile as well, so that people know who you are. You're not just a name on a book. They can put a name to a face, and they'll associate you with, your book. It's so important, and it's something that, when people have come to me before and said, I want you to help market my book, it's like, well, I can do that, but I also need to market you. I need to help you build that profile.
Definitely. Yeah, I always tell people, you're your brand. You're your brand. I mean, you have to build that up too, because, nowadays you see a lot of people writing books or their collaboration books. Everybody, is becoming authors in that sense. But you want to be the one, you want to kind of be more out there so people will be interested. And I love what you said, Emma, about, and I always tell people about targeting your market. Like, why would you give, if it's a romance book, and the alpha male, you give him the book, say, I want you to read this book, my book about romance. He'd be like, really? Is there any sports in it? Is there any action pack in there? If not, then they'll see, if they like you as a friend, they'll probably buy just because of that. But basically, it's not their target. It's not, that's your target.
And then just be careful with that feedback, because as your friend, they're going to want to read it, and they might give you some feedback that's bad. But then just take a step back and think about it. Think, well, they never read this genre, so just take it with a pinch of salt and just, say thank you for your feedback, but just bear in mind that they're not your audience.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because like you said, you can be getting feedback from them, and it might not be the right feedback, because like you said, that's not your audience. That's not what they do. That's not what they really like. And they'll sit there and look at the whole chapter or the whole book and say, you know what? Yeah, it really didn't hit me at all. And you'd be like, well, why did all of a sudden you're feeling bad? Like, okay, did I just totally screw up my whole book? Yeah. And then you got to think about it. They don't like romance novels, and if it's that, like,
maybe before giving it to them, ask them, what books do you read normally? And then just make a note of it, so that if their feedback is a bit off, you can say, well, actually, no, you've never read this kind of book before. So don't worry.
Yeah. So I'm telling everybody out there, if they're writing a romance book, they can I can do the feedback. I love romance books. I'll give them a lot of good feedback. I always love stories. This is me.
As long as it's got a happy ending.
Yeah, happy ending, sad ending, and I hate to say, I gotta admit it, I do the little cry spell sometimes. Yeah, my emotions start to get there a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always,
That's the kind of
tell
books
people.
you want, though. You want the books that kind of stay with you when you finish reading it.
Yeah.
You remember it. You think about it every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. And the suspense books, I love the suspense books. Oh, I love when towards the end, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? You know, be like, then all of a sudden you be like, at the end, what? He really did it, or she really, it's like.
I love those books. The problem is putting them down. Like, I end up reading them in one sitting. I just can't stop.
Because you can't stop. You don't want to, it's like, okay, I need to do this. Well, but I want to see what's going to happen, And by the time you look up, you just got to read the whole thing. You be like, you know what? I'm just going to read this so I can see what's going on.
That's happened so many times.
So many times. And if somebody can put in a book that way, good, I'll be like, yes, they did their job as an author to put that out there to keep us going. Yeah, for that. So that's awesome. So any other thoughts that you want to give the listeners before we end? Looks like the time went so quickly. Well, maybe I was late too, so that didn't help. But any other thoughts for the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's thinking about starting a business, and they think, oh, I can't do it, it's too hard. It's not. I mean, we started our marketing agency from nothing. We literally had nothing. We had no money. We had no idea, never run a business before. And it is a big learning curve. So be prepared for that. But you can do it. I've done it. So I always say to people, just go for it. Do your research, do your planning. I mean, we didn't get a chance to do that because I was made redundant. So we started the business straight away to get some money in. But yeah, do your research, do your planning, create a business plan. Think about your customer, create a marketing plan, and just go for it. Take a leap of faith.
I love it. I love it. I always tell people, don't hold back because you're waiting on, like Barbara said, you're waiting on perfection. Just, sometimes you just take it, get your parachute and just jump.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then, you'll fly among the eagles, I always tell people, and you'll fly among others. So,
and there's so much reading online that you can do. So, if you know you're going to start a business, start about 6 months before, do some reading, do some planning. It'll set you up. It's great.
Yeah. I always say there's Google University and there's Google YouTube.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I'm telling you, they help. They really help.
They do.
Yeah. Yes, I've learned a lot from a YouTube video teaching me, and I'm like, okay, stop. And one thing I love about it, you can stop it, start it, stop it, start it, and then do it. So all good information out there for you to, if you want to start your business. So Emma, I'm so happy that you came on. Thank you for coming on Time2Shine Happiness Show. We appreciate you, and we would love to have you back. I know. And just let everybody know how they can contact you. I want to make sure they can get to that point.
Yes, so you can find us at www.er-marketing.co.uk. We offer a free consultation to anyone that wants to have a chat about marketing, about your business. So get booked in.
Reach out to Emma. I always tell people I did a little nudge afterwards. So Miss Barbara, I know you can't talk that well, but I still want you to come on just to say some words before we sign off.
I loved Emma when she said, just go for it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go for it, because we all need to hear your voice. Like we talked about before, and I say it so often, there's 7 billion people on the planet. And the internet is growing every day into places that are absolutely untouched. And people who are looking for hope.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are all basically in the business of, giving people hope that they can do something, they can be something, they can make a difference in their life.
Yeah.
And that to me is just the best thing ever. To make a difference in someone else's life because of something that you've learned how to do for yourself. And then just share it out there. Get it out there. There's other people who are absolutely desperate for the thing that you already know how to do now. Yeah. So just go and do it.
So well put, my partner in crime. So well put. BBs and Miss Emma today. Wonderful, wonderful. So we will see everybody next Tuesday. I know Barbara always has a surprise for me when she brings in the guests, so I'll find out when she finds out. But Emma, we would love to have you back again.
Thank
we will
you.
keep in touch.
Definitely.
We always say, much success to you and your company, in your business, and in your personal life. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you
we
so
will see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.